My name is Aydin Sofian and I'll be speaking about several topics in C programming. The first topic I'll be going through is making variables, and here I've written several types of variables, and each one stores different types of values or inputs. And also I wrote down the identifiers for each of these so that when you need to call them in a printf or scanf you can. The difference between these two variable types is that this one is more precise than this one because this is a single precision variable and this is a double precision variable. And the difference between these two types of variables is that in this it's simply just a character, so you can only store single characters, and this one is an array of characters, so you can store strings. The next topic I'll be going through is the standard input and output. So in this case, I use the function printf, and I use it to prompt the user to input an integer. Next, to allow the user to input a value, I use the function scanf, and then the identifier of the type of variable I want them to put in, and then I store it in this variable, which I declared back here. Then after they input a value, I print the value that they had input using the identifier and the variable. So when I run the program and I input a value, it will print out the value that I had input and end the code. The next topic I'll be speaking about is the loops. The first loop I'll go through is the do-while loop. And the do-while, first you write, I have two variables here, which is repeats and increments, and I initialize them as equaling 0, both of them. And how do-while works is first you write in conditions for the do. So the do will make the increment go up by 1 every single time while this condition is true. So while repeats is less than 4, which it is, it will keep doing this, and each time it does this, repeats will increase by 1. So if I run, it will show increment equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, and then stop. The next type of loop I'll be going through is the for loop. Now, to use the for loop, you use this notation, and the first value is initializing the variable that will show how many times you want to repeat the function. This shows how many times you want to repeat the function, and this is the increment of how many times you want to increase the function. So in this function, when I ran it, it will increase the variable increments 4 times because it starts from 0, increase by 1 until it reached 4, and then it stopped. Lastly, to use the while loop, you first write while and then the condition for how many times the function will be repeated. In this case, it will be repeated for as long as repeats is under 4. And in the function, increments will be increased by 1 every time the function goes through, as well as repeats. So starting from 0, repeats will keep going up until it reaches 4, and then the function will stop. So here it shows increments will go from 1, 2, 3, 4, and then stop when repeats reaches 4. Next, I'll be talking about selection. And for selection in C programming, the function that is used is the if-else function. Now, for example, in this code I wrote, I have the variable input, and I prompt the user to input an integer. And if the integer is more than 10, then the program will print the input is bigger than 10. Or else, then it will input the input is not bigger than 10. And this is how, in programming, we make certain outcomes for certain inputs, or other words, selection. So when I run it, please input a number. If I put something that's under 10, then it will print user input is not bigger than 10. And if I run again and input something that is larger than 10, it will print user input is bigger than 10. The last topic I'll cover is arrays. In C programming, to make an array, use this notation. So you declare an integer variable, set the max number of values in the variable to 5 or any number, and then curly brackets, and then all the values you want to put into that variable. Now to print a certain variable, a certain value from the x variable, you put in the position number of these. So if I put x in box brackets 2, it will read 0, 1, 2, it would read 3, and print 3. And for example, if I do 4, then it would read the 5th, since it reads the position from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you for watching my video.